Well, how good is all this? Watching Sale beat Leicester last night. We were saying that these two weekends in the Premiership, this one and next weekend, are the two where every team is watching what the others are up to more than ever. Bath won last night as well. Saints and Saracens with those huge wins a bit earlier, all adding to the jeopardy here. And here are the 23 Chiefs who will be involved in their final home game of the season. It's been 2 weeks since they kept their campaign alive with the win away to Gloucester. Rob Baxter happy to stick largely with the group who attended to business at King's Home. David Jenkins has had quite a season, skippering club and country. He will be head-to-head aerially and closer to the ground with Quins skipper Stefan Levis. In the had quite a season bracket, you can add Ethan Roots and Greg Fittilau in the back row. Scrum half Tom Cairns, fullback Dan John, and of course Manny Feiuaboso similarly. Well, Quins players reminding themselves this week that they're only guaranteed another 2 games together as a group, all of them eager to stretch the fun into at least 1 more game, stretch it to 3, maybe even 4, and another final. The big news team-wise this week, the loss of Andre Esterhazen. He hurt himself training. Oscar Beard comes into midfield. Luke Northmore shifting in 1 to 12. Will Porter gets the start again at scrum half. Danny Kerr back on the bench, as is Finn Baxter at his 50th game for the club. Good to see James Chisholm in from the off for the first time in 4 months. Good to see Jack Kenningham back involved again for the first time in 7 months. Ben, the head-to-heads.
Oh, we're spoiled for choice in the forwards in terms of those battles, but the back row in particular I think is seismic. But if I've got to single out one, it's the 2 number 6s, both battling against each other for that vacated England number 6 shirt that Courtney Laws has left. And you've got the raw power of Cunningham South and rugged strength of Roots going head-to-head this afternoon.
Yeah, some equally interesting matchups in the backs, but I've gone for the 12s. Joe Hawkins against Northmore. Both of them haven't played a huge amount of rugby this calendar year, but when they are firing, their teams really excel. Northmore, a couple of tries last week, one on his first appearance as well. Very, very good start to his return.
I don't know whether to ask you another question or not. Have you got your breath back?
No, that's it. That was one long breath.
I did have another question then, so I'll ask Ben instead. Oh, I'll ask you if you're fit enough. What difference does the absence of Andre Esterhazen make to the way that Quins play in midfield?
Absolutely huge, really huge. I think it's that outlet for Marcus to do his thing. We know about his passing game, his footwork, but when he runs out of ideas or things stall a little bit, the opportunity to give it to Andre the Giant, give you guaranteed go forward, and then the pack are able to get around off the corner of that as well. So many offloads come from them too. The likes of Northmore has picked up scores from him in recent weeks, so he is a huge loss, but you've got a big man in Northmore, and Beard is no Triggy Violet either, so a couple of big meaty centres there.
Having had that happen, I agree with Brian, it is a massive loss to them, but having had it happen, I guess the messaging all week would be, well, he's not here next year, so we put in a decent performance. Psychologically, that will give us a lift to the back end of the season. Yes, we'll welcome him back as soon as he's fit, but equally, people won't be saying, well, Harlequins won't be the team without Andre Esterhazen, so it's a really important performance from those midfield 2 this afternoon.
Well, it's been a season for Exeter where expectations have been exceeded. Fundamental restructuring of the squad, a younger squad, as we all know, whose main target really at the start of it was to simply go out and express themselves and almost to get picked regularly as well. So many of these players at the beginning of the season were not sure of their starting places. Here they are now, still pitching for the playoffs. And another big crowd down on the English Riviera, if we can stretch it that far, to Sandy Park. And he's had some season as well. The captain, David Jenkins, and so has he, Manny Feiuaboso. Reminder that Exeter have to win this if they're to stay in the hunt for the playoffs. Not quite so critical for Quins, but boy, a win would be handy before their final game with Bristol in London next Saturday. It'd keep it in the hands of people like Caden Murley. Matthew Carley is in charge. He was in charge of the 2021 final between these two, which might just have been the best yet This, a game we all expect to be played in the fast lane. Final game of the penultimate weekend of the regular season of the Gallagher Premiership. We'll all have a rare Sunday off together tomorrow to make sure everyone has a proper run-up to the concluding day next Saturday, when positions and the playoffs will finally be nailed down. Marcus Smith in bright Devon sunshine gets us going, and the first long clearing kick and the first catch for Quins fullback Tyrone Green.
He's just got so much confidence at the moment, Green, hasn't he? Given licence to attack from anywhere when he's running onto the ball.
Chip ahead and Liner's chasing it, and Liner, he might still get there. The bounce was not kind, but how close.
Just wouldn't sit up for him, would it? Porter had run that brilliant cheat support line on the inside, so he just needed it to pop up, and he could have palmed it inside to his supporting 9. Lovely little chip over the top, but here he's thinking it's going to kick once more, and it just rolls end over end, stays really low, and he can't quite control the kick into the corner. But tough first line out to defend here for the Chiefs.
The Chiefs going bravely and lengthily off that line out to pick out Joe Hawkins, taking the forwards out of the equation.
Not on the ball. Use it.
Chief scrum half is Tom Cairns, who's been starting regularly recently. Green again, second run forward, second catch. It's the speed of those feet that Green have that get him out of trouble so often.
You just, Nick, never anticipate he's going to kick the ball, Nick, do you? He's so many metres in contact, so many metres from running deep.
And how about this from Smith? Sidestep through! Marcus Smith, brilliant, the dive, and the most fabulous of London starts.
That's a phenomenal break from Smith. Again, that momentum provided by the Tyrone Green carry back, and then eyeballs what's in front of him, makes decisions late, and just look, big gap opening up there around the guard area, around the breakdown, so he shows the ball, which forces the wider defender to step back, knowing that there's too big a gap, and he's gone against 2 front 5 forwards. He manipulates them with his eyes, with the show of the ball, and he just straightens up. If the player had stayed there in front of him, he still would have given that pass, but he's just reading what's in front of him, sees the error in defence, and goes, I've got 1 or 2 options: hold on to it myself, give it inside, and once he holds on to it, brilliant finish on the last man.
2 minutes. That's all it took for him to sprinkle a little bit of individual stardust on this contest. We expect lots of tries this afternoon, this early evening. We've already got one.
I mentioned about the Tyrone Green carry back as well, which provides this opportunity. Caden Murley, another guy that's really thriving off this back 3 combination. But it just sets the scene, and Exeter maybe just a little bit guilty of kicking a little bit too long on the first one, a little bit too short on the second. They have to be accurate on that box kicking game, because if not, there's probably not a better fullback in the league at the moment of exploiting those opportunities.
Joe Marler. Harlequins begin the job of exiting their own 22.
Just digging out.
They've got the ball where they want to on that 15-metre line. It'll provide the channel for Murley to chase hard, or rather the decision of the scrum half Porter was to kick hard.
Yeah, just love what Marcus Smith does. His capacity to be able to use his his attacker inside him to stick the defender. Ethan Roots on this occasion shows the ball to him, shows and goes, and then he has the footwork to finish the score.
It's expertly held on to by David Jenkins, a ball that wasn't very friendly. Oh, and then how about that from Slade? Down by his knees, wonderful. And now Exeter joining the fun. This is Ollie Woodburn. Cracking battle between the wingers on both sides today. Ollie Woodburn and Lewis Liner. Manny Feu-Waboso against Caden Murley.
Feu-Waboso's given licence to not stay on the wing. He's appearing on the left wing at the moment, and he's kind of dragging, he's just following the ball around everywhere. Vermeulen's playing right wing for them.
Slade, oh, it wasn't far away from Murley.
Just a knock on by White.
He's not the tallest bloke in the world, an extra couple of inches, and he may well have been away. It's only a knock on.
2 hands in a really position to go.
He very nearly got it over him, but he almost got it intercepted in the same breath. It was lovely, slick hands initially from Exeter Chiefs, nice footwork from John in the backfield, and then recycled the ball really quickly to come the other side, and Murley just got himself in the passing channel in the right spot.
Just love that pass from Slade, the way he invited Chisholm to keep coming. So he didn't take a step forward, but the flow of the pass meant they lost no momentum whatsoever. Almost like a matador inviting the ball towards him and then just shipping it on.
Crouch! Boy! Set! Stay behind the ball. Right, use it now.
Fisselau does use it. Angles over the 10-metre. Cairns to Roots away quickly, and Skinner.
Backwards play on.
Bit too high for Dan John, but Woodburn back to John.
Timing's fine.
And the defensive decision-making belonging to Liner.
Not with your hands now.
It's James Chisholm getting a start ahead of Will Evans today. Chisholm's first start in 4 months. Quins bolstered by his return to the starting 15. Jack Kenningham's on the bench as well. Should they get to the playoffs, they've got some big names back available. Brian.
I tell you, this was a great opportunity. It was a poor quality pass. Exeter Chiefs renowned as a very good passing team. If that goes to hand to John, he's going to be able to draw the last defender. It's Tyrone Green. There might have been some hustle coming across, but great opportunity.
The knee went on the ground.
This is what the Chiefs need to do against us. They need to be confrontational. They can't get drawn into a wide game. They want to play expansive rugby, but equally they want to combine it. A few little jabs up the middle, as we've just seen there. That forces Harlequins, who are going to want to slow this Chiefs team down. We've already seen Chisholm over the ball. Vermeulen doing a really good job of man-marking him off the back of the line out, taking an arm away when he's going to compete on the ball. Vital that they get into a nice rhythm, this Chiefs team.
Well, there was another tricky breeze just tickling around Sandy Park today, which made what looked like a kickable kick, I'm sure, back home that much harder here, Brian.
Yeah, it's hard to know fully whether that was a decision that they're going to need tries over the course of this game, or whether it was just that little bit too far out. But it is a considerable breeze that Exeter Chiefs are playing into in this first half.
Faye Waboso couldn't gather.
Second play of the ball on the floor. You're off your feet. You're out the game. Knock on by 14.
It's a really interesting
on the floor.
move from the Chiefs. There was so many
We need a better setup.
Chiefs players in the smallest of areas, really trying to isolate defenders with so many options, and then use Faye Waboso's speed on the outside.
Listen. There was 2 nines. You just need to be more clean with the setup.
Have a look at it if it goes to touch here. But just watch how the Chiefs set up and how tight they are.
Sure, okay?
So many in that. A bit of confusion. They're getting each other's way. The line's good from Faye Waboso, but just a little bit of maybe sympathy on the pass needed. He knows he's going to hit contact as soon as he receives the ball.
Quins not hanging around at the line-out. They took that very quickly, and Beard gets it away. Takes a shudder as well in midfield from Roots.
That is an unbelievable destructive tackle on Beard, Oscar Beard. He's in real trouble. He almost bent over himself. Low hit, so his hips get stopped dead and his rib cage almost just bends right over itself, and he's in a lot of pain. Roots times his run perfectly.
Oh, that arm had just lifted up to throw the pass, and he left himself unbelievably vulnerable. Just cocks the arm as it moves forward, leaves that rib cage shot primed for Roots to do the damage.
I mentioned about Courtney Laws, and Roots being one of those players trying to replace him in the England team. That's exactly what he was so good at, being able to time a run. So he's already at full pace as he goes past the offside line as the ball comes out, and then doesn't have to speed up, slow down. He's at full, almost like an Exeter going in, missile to right into the ribcage there.
Well, I hope Beard's okay. He's actually rolled around in more pain than any other player I've seen this season. He was properly winded. If it's only the winding thing, he'll be fine. As Woodburn chases the loose kick, roared on by the 15,000 in here. But one back by Green.
Well, they've managed to get away with this one. Unusual error from Lewis Lina, dropping that.
Oscar Beard's back on the wing. He's not exactly crying for the ball at the moment. He's still feeling his right ribs, sucking in lungfuls of Devon air. In the meantime, about 40 metres away, his teammates concede a penalty. Bang in front of the posts.
Not go quickly here. Skinner just having a look. I think they are going to tap, though.
Yeah, they go, and off goes Yendall. Mass Quins celebrations.
Yeah, he just gets himself disconnected from a support play. Yendall, look, there's too much spacing there. They got to be right beside him, and we know how good Quins are on the jackal position. I know no Will Evans today, but they should be almost linked with him as he gets into contact. The separation allows the defender to chop him and then immediately get in on that jackal position.
The problem's caused because Fizelau switches off because he thinks, well, he's got two support players as he taps it. Because Yendall runs away from them and to the right, he's then got to react to that straight away, flick the switch, go, I'm not going to be the next carrier, I'm going to clear out. Just gets that distance away, but real opportunity for both sides there to show how they win this game. That relentless defence from Exeter when Harlequins are looking to play from their own 22, try and turn them over. And then from a Harlequins point of view, they've been really, really good at the jackal when teams get loose against them and stealing the ball. But the basics will always be a major part of the game, and Walker won't want us to replay that again.
Harlequins have the Polar Explorer, the mountaineer Richard Parks, in to talk with them this week in Guildford. Wales international, former player turned adventurer. So many inspiring stories of challenges conquered, and here's their own little Everest today.
Crouch! Bind!
We've seen Chiefs so often go this 9-12 with Skinner and Faye Waboso ducking in behind, but they're sticking to a blind side. They like the look of it.
Hawkins offering himself, but the ball was held onto by Fizelau. And then Roots, Skinner. Here's Woodburn. He's seeing a lot of the ball at the moment and breaking through tackles. However, touch judge's flag up on the far side. Greg McDonald.
Yeah, Woodburn probably needs to do a bit better getting off that touchline, but as soon as they win the penalty here, Fizelau gets the call from Cairns and he's up. So clearly targeting, getting those three-point shots early on, but then as soon as they get an opportunity, they're up and playing before the Harlequins forwards can get back up from that scrum.
I'm not a fan of that big, long Hail Mary of a pass that allows Tyrone Green, albeit he misses the tackle. That's just a poor one-on-one contact on Woodburn, but rather going to the short pass, and then to be able to draw Tyrone Green and give Woodburn a better opportunity up that touchline. Those big floaty ones are a dream to any drifting defence.
Here we are, Henry. Let's play. Henry, kick the ball. Play.
Henry Slade with his eyes on getting this ball somewhere within 5 metres if he can. It's not quite that.
Henry.
It's nearer 10 metres, but it'll do.
Thank you. No.
Still waiting for confirmation, by the way, that he will be a Devon boy again next season. Whenever Rob Baxter is asked the question, there's always the slightest tickle of a smile on his face, just as if they're teasing the fans. I think fairly short odds that Slade will be here again entertaining us all next year.
Let's go.
Exeter are still looking for midfield options. They feel they've been a bit light in that area.
7.
You might have seen that Hunter Paisami decided to stay with the Reds this week, the Wallaby. Chiefs had spoken to him. Meantime, the forwards with the line out. Long, oh, it was meant for Roots, beyond his fingers, and Chisholm tried to release Northmore.
The first, then knocked on by 8. Quins, scrum, Quins ball. Took 2 steps to the left, and then as you tried to drive forward, it stood up, okay? So it's just drive square.
So this scrum battle is a good one. Scott Seo up against Will Collier on one side. Collier part of the Premiership's most efficient scrum this season, engineered as it is by Adam Jones, and on the other side, Joe Marler, the other side of Jack Walker. Joe Marler up against Marcus Street. Rare Premiership start for Street this season. It's actually his first here at Sandy Park.
Bind. Set. Use it.
Goes down. Carly eager to get on with things. Chandler Cunningham South. How good has he been over the last couple of months, particularly on those European adventures in Bordeaux, even losing away to Toulouse, particularly in the second half last weekend. Absolutely came into his own against the likes of Francois Cross. Will Porter starting again today, finding a safe enough touch.
Quins just haven't really been able to get a foothold in the game. It's been largely possession for Chiefs. As we go again, playing fast and frenetic.
Hawkins straightens things up, earns an extra 2, maybe 3 metres. Slade socks down. Faye Waboso, as Ben was saying, eager for work in midfield. This is Greg Fisselout, one of the reasons Exeter have made so many metres in contact this season. One of those numbers that we're starting to pick out more and more. Skinner down low.
Off a foot, play on.
So it was there for Cairns to pick up, which he did, but Quins are now going fishing.
Good choice, Jack.
Didn't hook anything. Slade. Here goes Dan John, and John away to Fisselout. Chiefs will get another go with Seo. Quins have coughed up another penalty, giving away a lot of penalties at the moment. It's been all Chiefs since Marcus Smith's try after just a couple of minutes. Skinner. Hop and a skip, and then a knock-on.
7, entry and hands on the floor, both.
Just checking that tackle from Cunningham South. There was another Harlequins player in there in the background.
A high tackle by Quins 6 on Henry Slade.
Any more than a penalty?
It'd just be a penalty only, mate.
Whereabouts?
It's about 15 metres in, so in line with where you are, but about 15 metres in.
Gav, we've got a penalty here on the 5, or about 15 metres in for a high tackle. Here we are, on the 5, please.
Well, the decision is...
it's actually about 17 metres in, sorry.
No, that's
I'm not sure 2 metres is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, it was just penalty.
David Jenkins seems sure that he'll take the penalty from where the original one was given.
OK, time off.
This was the slightly high shot. Actually, I don't think it's Cunningham South, is it? I think the player steps out, it's more...
I said time off twice.
Well, Jacques Vermeulen is absolutely furious, because in the middle of all that, Exeter tried to take the line out quickly.
Said time off twice. It's not my problem.
Vermeulen skipped through, thought he'd scored, and then came the peep on the whistle.
Sure. Don't throw the ball away next time. I understand the frustration, though. Time on.
Big moment for Quins here. This such a big start now, but it's all been Chiefs, as you said.
Hawkins once more providing that link. Here's Yendall. Oh, and a little juggle from Roots, but no long-lasting damage. In fact, much more than that. A big, profitable run. Yendall!
Time off. Time off.
I've got a try.
No, I've got a knock-on. Did you say something before that?
Okay, yeah, it was 13 white offside.
Okay,
Yeah.
hang on. 13 whites offside, then the ball is knocked forward, okay? So it'd be a penalty for offside, Troy.
Played the half-back as he tried to make that last pass.
13 whites. Dav, offside. Hang on.
Well, Matthew Carley saw that clearly with his own eyes live. He's absolutely right to crack on.
It's great.
In the way. Can you double check? I'm 99% sure it was knocked on before it was scored, Rosie.
He's doubting himself now. I'm 99% sure. Just back yourself with the 100.
Let's have a look just to make sure that the often fault. Oh no, we don't have time for it.
He played it second time. Play on.
Kent waits. Roots, who helped set up that initial threat that they very nearly scored from. Quins offside. Bigger problems, however. Cairns, bit further wide. Try scored. Henry Slade. One of the vintage faces in these parts. Scoring a big try.
Well, since Exeter Chiefs has managed to get themselves back in this game, it has all been about their ability to win the collisions, win those extra metres in contact. Fizzle out, ably supported by Dunn there. And that means it's 2v2 in the wide channel. But they're thinking, well, there's ball players, what are they going to do? And Henry Slade, as soon as he's got it there in his grasp, just tucks it, buries between the two defenders, gets his head going down towards the ground, and there's not going to be any stopping. Just a moment of indecision from the Harlequins defenders because of the threat and ball-playing ability of Henry Slade. And he doesn't need that. He uses power instead, scores the try, and can he put the two over to convert his own as well?
Got a really good kicking percentage, particularly given that a lot of it will be here when, as we often talk about, conditions are far from ideal with that breeze coming off the ex-estuary. It'll be whipping between the east stand and the south stand now as Slade lines this up. I mean, that's a magnificent kick. And it's 7-all.
Been really good for Exeter, haven't they? Just built slowly, applied the pressure, turned the screw. Harlequins managed to hold out for a couple, but maybe just a little thought there as to what Harlequins need to be doing. They cannot afford to be camped down in their own half with their backs to their own goal line defending. They need a bit of possession in this game, and they need to be down this end of the field more often than not.
Ethan Roots getting through an awful lot of that grunt work, just chucking it up 2-3 metres. Cairns flicked away. Green, that ball is moving around and Green was underneath it nicely. Smith back to his fullback. Qualifies for England next year. We're not necessarily short of fullbacks at the moment, but it adds to the conversation. Already clearly still qualified for South Africa. Smith, oh that's lovely to Dombrandt. If it was flat, it was as flat as anything, and Murley pulled to the floor by John Dombrandt. Thought of using liner. Marcus Smith and
what's Joe Marler doing?
Joe Hawkins was involved in that. Harvey Skinner's in the middle of it as well. Meantime, here goes Green. He's tipped up by Slade.
It's a push by black 10 on white 10.
That's the voice of Greg McDonald, assistant on the far side. Smith to Feyu Aboso, and now we'll come back and have a look at what's been going on. Bit of skullduggery about the sounds of it.
I think it's worth a review.
Let's have a look. Well, a little bit of a hit, and then it's obviously a bit of afters.
Black 10 onto white 10. I assume after the pass off the phase that came across field before Greg came in.
Questioning whether that pass might have strayed slightly forward. But it's the afters, after Skinner went through and completed the tackle.
You don't need him, Woody.
Because it's off the ball, Matt, we're just trying to find it for you, so just bear with us, please.
No rush.
Yeah.
So Anthony Woodthorpe, the other assistant. I think we've said hello to TMO David Rose, and you know him.
Hey, Matthew, we're going to show you the best angle we can find at the moment.
Yep, that's
just
right.
coming up now.
Thank you.
Tackle's fine, I think, because it's one step. It looks worse in slow motion.
After the tackle, subsequent actions after that. After that tackle
Here we
off the line
go,
break.
Matthew. This will probably give you a better picture here.
There's nothing in that. It's marginal. He probably knows what he's doing, but I think there's a commitment.
Right. Can you
Actually, Marcus Smith pushes him first, doesn't he?
Rosie.
They're saying that Skinner's made the push as well.
Yeah, Rosie, have we got
But
any-
certainly
Yeah, we've just
Marcus
got
Smith doesn't
more to
like how
come,
late the
Matthew.
tackle is.
And then that's it.
I wonder actually whether it's less that and more the tangle that happened when they
Yeah, it
got
is.
back onto
Yeah,
their feet.
It is, yeah, definitely.
Don't worry, take your time.
The tackle's there, and it goes away. So it just travels out of frame. We just haven't got the aftermath on.
What did you see that happened?
After that tackle, both players went to one another.
Yeah.
Okay, and it ended up resulting in black 10 pushing white 10. I don't know where that landed, which is why I said.
Okay, we'll restart with the penalty against black 10.
But actually,
It's
Marcus
obviously
Smith
off
makes the
camera,
first
so we
push.
can't review the
So
footage, so we'll go off what Greg has seen. It's a tackle after the pass, which we think is okay. Both players have then interacted with each other, but it finished with number 10 pushing unnecessarily once it had all stopped off the ball. So we'll restart with a penalty here against black 10. No, that's not a discussion.
Brian, it's one of those moments that is barely life-altering, but has taken 4 minutes out of the game. Are they the things that we just need to stop worrying about?
They are, but I tell you, one impressive thing was this Dan John tackle on Caden Murley. He scrags him by the arm. He gets that away. I tell you, that's every chance of being a score for Quins. But yeah, these are the frustrating ones, that it's a nothing thing. When there's no outcome from it, we've got to be able to make a decision within 30 seconds and move on quickly. Yes, foul play and someone's injured, you've got to take a bit more time, but that sort of stuff we've got to wash away.
I guess they don't know that. Look, that's been called in by the referee's assistant, who's clearly seen something. So the referee, well, I need to have a look, and then it can't be found. We haven't got the angle.
Play away from the ball.
I guess as soon as we haven't got the angle and we've seen the two best first time round, we just need to move on a bit quicker. But
yeah, we crack on, and that's what we're doing with Jack Walker. Exeter through Jenkins high, making sure that the front wasn't the option. Porter, Cunningham South. It's that little change of angle, Ben, just before he took contact, to maybe find slightly softer shoulders, make a few more metres than maybe he not so much deserved, but Exeter might have wanted to keep him to them. That little chip over the top from Evans, looking for Green. Oh, and Green gets it back to Liner, and Liner drops it. Shepherded as he was by Ollie Woodburn.
Just a little bit nervy from Harlequins, isn't it? They're creating opportunities. Cunningham South just drops that right shoulder, makes it very, very difficult to get any sort of shot on him. Roots does a good job, tries to hold him there, but lovely little outside of the right boot. Lift over the top from Jared Evans, and how well does Green do again to save the ball from going into touch? Jumps in the air, manages to get the offload as soon as he lands, just before he goes into touch, and Liner looks like he's all good. Really good cover from Woodburn to dislodge the ball.
Hook the arm, advantage.
Walker has it.
Advantage.
Jared Evans, by the way, we're being told is on because Caden Murley's injured. So we're not going to see Caden Murley again. Porter, Cunningham South. Porter being reminded that they have the penalty, but Quins pressing again for the first time since they scored the opening try after a couple of minutes. Oh, loads of white shirts. Smith was one of them, smuggled it away, but not cleanly.
The ball has touched 10's hand and it's been taken in front by 12 or 13.
Come back for the penalty, though.
He's got a line-out offence. 5 Exeter. Would you prefer a penalty in front of the post or on the 15? Thank you. Number 5 Exeter pulling on the arm.
David Jenkins, we've seen a couple of those given this weekend.
Don't want to kick it, yeah?
So difficult when you're up in the air reaching for the ball. Often a hand appears in front of you, you're trying to reach through, but you can't hook. You can almost barge the arm out of the way if you're going for the ball, but as soon as you hook around it, you leave yourself open to a penalty.
Quins. 5, thank you. 5. Receiver.
Jack Walker again, part of an operation at the set piece and also the maul that's become an increasing threat this season. They're within striking range here.
They got a free shot. It was an early one.
Here goes Chisholm rolling around the side. Found a little bit of space. And then Stefan Levis, the skipper. Porter down low. Marler still with the penalty advantage, Harlequins. And then Evans. Oh, and Green goes through a big hole. Jared Evans needed a bit of time to bring the ball to heel, but when he did, he saw Green on the charge.
All starts with that break round the front, and Chisholm, who does so well to stay on the field, because it looks like Yendel's going to bury him into touch. They've got the advantage. He can take the risk. They're going backwards, but he stays in field, keeps his feet on the dance floor. And then as they come back in, a couple of big carries, not getting huge meters, but just winning those collisions enough. But then how good was that? A juggle from Jared Evans. That forces Henry Slade, who we know loves to go up hard in that defensive line. And just that juggle foxes him. Good. And when he gets it back under control, he puts the ball behind Slade's back and right into Tyrone Green's path. And the angle of run perfect to scamper over for the score.
Backs spend so many hours during the week seeking perfection, but it doesn't always have to be perfect to work, Brian.
No, it doesn't, and it's about how you react and respond to a pass on the inside shoulder or late footwork. That's why that bounce pass is often so difficult to defend, because defences all of a sudden see it hit the ground, they go, oh, relax a little bit. That's when you need to be most agile and most ready to attack from a defensive position.
I think part of the problem is when you're going into a tackle, a lot of the decision making is done in the build-up, the meters before the contact. So when that suddenly changes, it's almost impossible to react quickly enough.
Exeter ball. His foot is out and the ball is out.
Yeah, perfect. His foot's out and the ball's out.
Well, as much as Dan John was frustrated by what appeared to be the outcome of that catch, it's actually worked out in his favour, Chiefs' favour in the end. Yendel's throw taken by Jenkins.
Sack's good.
Brought to the floor quickly by Ernie Herbst.
Still don't think they're quite getting the back lift right in the line out, Exeter. They're just catching the ball on fingertips. Looks like there's an extra couple of inches in that lift, which would make things more comfortable. And as a result, as they land ready for the drive, Jenkins can't keep his feet.
Right, let him go. Use it. 9.
Green hesitated. Ball bounced.
It was brave. I don't know if he fully knew exactly where he was. I think he thought the touchline was a little bit closer to him than it ended up being. You don't want the ball to be bouncing there. If one of the Chiefs chasers had kept their eye on the ball and challenged for it, they could have had a run through to the line uncontested.
Over 15.
Stefan Levis, Joe Marler, having a look across to the touch judge Anthony Woodthorpe as he
has the ball, he's
took
through the middle.
David Jenkins for a waltz. And then Exeter, brilliant over that ruck, winning it back. And then Hawkins and Slade and the fullback John. This is Woodburn. Let's have a chat with Rob Baxter, who's watching this. Rob, I know you were talking effusively about Dan John in the build-up to this match. Just tell us what he brings at fullback that maybe others don't at the moment.
Well, more than anything, just a little bit of solidity and taking the right options. That's the key. You know, we know Hodgie's got, you know, a kind of great potential and great pace, but actually, you know, you have to get the ball back in two hands. You have to bring other people back into the game, and we think Johns is doing that, you know, particularly well at the moment. Like I say, overall, I'm pretty pleased with how things are going. We know Quins are a good side. I think we're challenging them in some ways. They're challenging us in some ways, and you know, it's a pretty bit of a humdinger where our errors are probably hurting us a bit more than theirs are, and we've just got to try and, under the heat of the battle, just be a little bit more accurate.
I know Danny Wilson calls it their point zone work, Rob. The points they score for trips to your 22, they're very efficient at that. They seem to have had 2 trips there and got 2 tries.
They are, but I think probably, and you know, it's a bit of my frustration sometimes, but and whether it's a bigger picture thing that the game needs to look at, maybe a bit our naivety. You know, we give up a penalty to the opposition player with advantage. We don't really go after things and risk second and third penalties. You can see that's completely different at the other end of the field. And I think that, as I say, that's some of the, maybe a little bit our naivety. That, as an example from that last penalty, Jacques Vermeulen gets over the ball, he's on the ball, but he kind of gives it up. He doesn't want to risk the pen. Actually, you know, we've already conceded the pen. He's pretty legal in there. It's not going to lead to. It's not going to be a yellow card. He hasn't dived in there. That's the kind of stuff we've got to hold on to those and give ourselves the next chance to defend. It's not necessarily great for the game, but it's what everybody else does.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Rob. We'll let you get back to the job.
Right, thanks, Nick.
Watch them too, Greg.
Knocked away by Tom Cairns. Smith. Catch and the run, and the thrilling run from Smith. Always looking to get the ball away. That might be a mistake. Tafeo Aboso, the roar of Stanley Park in his ears. Try line fast approaching. That's what we've come to watch.
Well, Smith initially brilliant, but then throws it back loosely. Jared Evans appealing to the referee that he was taken out by Tafeo Aboso. I don't think the contact's that great. They do come together, but they're both going towards the ball. It's whether there's a wrap of the arms from that man, but once he's got ball in hand, there's only going to be one result. Great little half break here, and then he just gets it completely wrong. There's the collision. For me, that's nothing. They're both running towards the ball. Tafeo Aboso finishes off, as you'd expect, with his pace, even with the speed of Tyrone Green coming back.
Yeah, tries good, man.
Thank you, Rosie.
Well, he's bound to be up for so many end-of-season awards. Certainly young player of the season, breakthrough player, but maybe even big, fully grown-up player of the season. He's quite a prospect, Brian.
Yeah, he really is. As soon as he gets the ball, there's an excitement, there's a palpable excitement in the stadium, and I'm sure for people at home watching as well, there's an energy and an electricity to his play, be it shooting in with defensive reads or when he gets the ball in hand like that. And he knew as soon as it went in behind there, it was only going to be one outcome with his acceleration.
It's the shoulder of Joe Hawkins that is going to end his match prematurely. Zach Wimbush, bumper-sized Zach Wimbush on in midfield instead. So both sides losing backs early on. Quins have lost Caden Murley. Chiefs have lost Joe Hawkins.
Use it. That's fine. Now your feet. Right, use it.
An accurate kick here, the Chiefs. Marcus Smith back ready, along with Evans.
It's not a lift. Not a lift. Advantage knock on. Knock on advantage.
Porter, Smith.
Advantage over.
Absolutely central to Quins' try-scoring effort, but central to the one they conceded a minute or so ago.
Oh, brilliant.
Northmore was fantastic. The angle he ran off that touchline, got his timing absolutely perfect, and then the speed to win the battle of the shoulders on an isolated player.
Talking to Danny Wilson this week about how you replace Andre Esterhuizen, I think his feeling might be you don't. And they're not going to go chasing big money for blokes who are not as good. And they feel that with the likes of Northmore and Oscar Beard and Lennox and Yanwu, that they might already have the players at the club.
You know, so we're just having one more look at this angle. As Ben was saying, Northmore had a great angle in, but it's the second effort, bang, up onto his feet, and Dombrandt was already there, but he locked him in there. But you're right, I don't think there's any replacing the big man. You just have to find a way to incorporate other players into your game plan, and two very, very capable centres in Beard and Northmore.
They got Bryn Bradley as well, a young Welsh centre as an option. And here's an English 8, and Dombrandt piles his way through. And that point zone attack that Quins talk about, getting near the try line, getting over the try line, coming to the fore again. They've got 3.
They do a really good job on that setup because they're going towards the touchline here. Collier anchors it in, stops it coming, and then they wheel round, and look, the head's up. He's analysing who's in front of him, and he's thinking, if I can get past Fizelau, who's half committed there, I can get a one-on-one with Quins, and I fancy myself, I'll back myself to get one-on-one over the line from here. And Quins be really disappointed at the attempt, but even had he made his best tackle with the reach and the ball-playing ability, you'd think that it might have been an unfair advantage and Dombrandt might still have got there, but really good decision-making in terms of the timing to break out from Alex Dombrandt.
No, I'm definitely not.
Now, we've had 5 tries in the Devon sunshine. Rugby life does not get much better than this. And there's the hope of a pasty at half-time as well, which is why Brian has made the long trip down to be with us today. Already had a sausage roll that are fine services, but one's never enough. Smith's conversion. 3 minutes to half-time. Exeter 14, Harlequins 21.
That'll feel like a little bit of a soft try. Ben's right. The timing of the breakout from Dombrandt as soon as Fizelau joins that maul, nervous that it's beginning to go forward. The mismatch, there's only going to be one outcome. He's got such an impressive try-scoring record, does Dombrandt. He backs his physicality every single time, and there's no shock that another 5-pointer comes on the back of it.
Gathered by Levis.
Inside.
Offered the support of his teammates. Marler wants it. And then when he had it, he didn't really look like he wanted it. Just ambles into the tackle.
But he'd heard his own whistle.
Use it.
Doesn't want to go outside the 22 just to give the option to kick the ball off the field.
There's Joe. Finn Baxter is on the bench today. When Baxter comes on, it'll be his 50th game for the club. Seems to have got there in no time at all, Finn Baxter.
Over 15.
Taken by Dunn. Only his 2nd Premiership start of the season. Wimbush, who's recently joined us, lovely from Skinner to find Feyu Aboso.
Thank you.
And then Slade.
Wait, White.
There's a player that Manny Feyu Aboso reminds me of at the moment, Brian, and I don't know whether you'd agree, but is there a bit of James Lowe about him? Not yet at James Lowe's world-class best, you'd imagine, but just the way he goes about his work, how busy he is.
Well, I think that's the really important thing. The last thing you want as a winger is to wait for the ball to come out to you, because sometimes the games don't work out that way. You've got to go and look for it, and particularly when you can have that much of an impact on the game. I have to say, it was beautiful hand from Henry Slade to get the ball to Feyu Aboso, but as soon as he accelerates, he's going to have any one-on-one defenders very, very nervous about the prospect of what he can do, the footwork, the speed, but the power as well on the collision. That's the other aspect. He's a small man in size, but my God, he packs a serious punch.
He reminds me of Talea, the All Blacks, Auckland wing, in that he's not that big. He doesn't look like he's going to be the sort of guy that's going to have the strength, but so often the first tackler thinks he's got him and then he'll step out of that. Another one we just saw there off that brilliant Henry Slade pass as well. Defenders think they've got him, which means everyone else starts worrying about who they're going to mark, and then he goes again and so often gets in behind you.
Set. Use it.
Black.
Ball away.
Dombrandt, Porter, Smith, liner. The option to the right, but Smith came back in field. Dombrandt will work hard. Look at Chandler Cunningham South. He's making sure that Feyi Oboso won't have this easy. How well did Feyi Oboso do? And then to get up to the 22 and beyond the 22 and to pick out Ollie Woodburn. Liner wasn't far away, but Chiefs can rebuild in the shadows of half-time. Slade for Muirland. Oscar Beard over the top, repelled. Chiefs up to halfway. Skinner.
Sliding in, slipping down, no foul play, play on.
John gets it to the ground. Another Welshman, David Jenkins. Skinner. And Street, Slade. He runs into the shoulders of Beard.
Out 6. No.
Fisilau. Oh, Herks went in. He went in shoulder height, but Fisilau comes away with it. And here's Cairns, and back to Jenkins, and here's Fisilau, and this is brilliant. Harlequins funneling back in defence as Chiefs thrillers now away to the left. Oh, what a score that is! What a score! Dan John at the end of it, but it felt like half of Devon were involved.
There is so much to love about that try. The initial Feyi Oboso break, and he's got no right to make from under his own sticks. And then once they break through with this from Fisilau, rolls and pirouettes on the big hit from Herbs, stays on his feet, Ken supports good. They then, beautiful interplay there. Jenkins pops it up, but the decision-making here of Woodburn, when everyone thinks he's going to come right, to see the opportunity to the left, make the pass, then it's reliant on Skinner holding his feet, not taking a step forward under pressure and getting it through the hands and over the top of the tackler as quickly as he can. That is a wonderful Exeter Chiefs score.
Yeah, it's the staying alive, isn't it? The link play. It's not passing the ball and being proud of your work, but actually following it up with secondary work, getting more touches, making sure that the right numbers are at the ruck at the crucial time, right under the post, committed a couple of numbers, recycled really quickly, and that gives them the opportunity out wide.
Nobody wants this season to end. Both of these sides certainly don't want it ending next Saturday. Both want to be involved in the playoffs. Both keeping it very much alive. Thrilling first 40. Smith and Green and Dombrandt for Quins. Slade, Feyi Oboso and John wonderfully for Exeter. How about that first 40? Exeter 21, Harlequins 21. Well, what a weekend this has already been. Last night, Sale beating Leicester to keep their hopes alive. Bath winning away to Newcastle to do likewise. Extraordinary score at the Gardens if you haven't seen it. Northampton 90. Gloucester 0 earlier on. Second biggest win in Premiership history. They're sure of a home semi-final. And Bristol 20, Saracens 41. Saracens, as they always do at the business end of the season, starting to do their best business. And now this. That first 40 was one of the most enjoyable 40 minutes of the season. And a huge 40 ahead for both of these sides. Exeter have to win to stay alive in the playoff chat. Quins, if they win, will have matters in their hands when they have the home game with Bristol next Saturday.
Turn a bad kick into a good one.
Jenkins goes in to get some air over that ball, and Fisilau lays it back, and Skinner, and here's Zach Wimbush, who came on in the first half for the injured Joe Hawkins. Scott Seo, all of that World Cup final experience, all of those Wallaby caps. Slade, and this is for Muirland. He's been in fabulous form the last few weeks, Jacques Vermeulen. Slade pulling strings, and here goes Dan John. Score of one of the tries of the season just before half-time. Yendall.
advantage. Penalty advantage.
For all the fun, Chiefs have yet to be ahead in this contest. They're pressing for the lead for the first time here. And to do it without Jacques Vermeulen, or is it Yendel? It's Yendel who's down injured. Vermeulen is still there working hard. Quins, Skinner, head down.
A mile offside. They're there.
Wrestling their way over the line. And the Chiefs are sure that they have scored. Quins is sure.
How it got there. If not, we'll come back to the penalty advantage playing the 9. Okay, Rosie.
I think the offside.
The ball grounded, we just need to see how the ball gets there.
Yeah, just going to show you an angle coming up.
I'm just checking that it wasn't a secondary movement, I guess, but...
Bit of a roll involved in this. This is going to be a tight call.
Is he actually tackled? Is it completed? Yeah.
Nothing coming on the screen, mate.
Let's have a look at this
Should
one.
be on the screen for you now, mate.
No, nothing on the screen. Just a bit wide.
Keeps the leg drive. He's not actually held, so he falls to the ground. No one's holding him as he falls to the ground because he spins out of this contact.
Right. Matt.
So now
so he's never tackled. So he spins out the tackle initially, goes to the floor, and he just places the ball over the line. So he's you can give the try.
It's all in one momentum.
Yeah.
So much strength from Skinner to keep that alive.
He just reaches out to score.
We're giving a try, yeah?
Yes.
And for the first time in this contest, the pump of the fist to mark the occasion. Rob Baxter's Chiefs ahead.
Really composed from them down in the red zone, an area that they've historically been very, very good. Holding on, stressing the defence, waiting for a mismatch. All right, mightn't be the mismatch that they were looking for. Harvey Skinner trying to muscle his way over. He hasn't got too many of those types of scores, but I tell you what,
Say that again, mate.
just nice and composed, exactly as you would have wanted right after half-time. Stamp your authority on the game, and
just let me know.
certainly using this beneficial wind to their advantage.
Okay, I'll speak to me here then, mate.
Big Chiefs try in so many ways. Fourth try, earning them at least one bonus point from this contest.
Yeah.
At the moment,
Yeah, we'll
they
chase
are
that down, Matt.
7 points behind Sale in fourth at the moment, the Chiefs, but what a 5-point win would do for that. So much to go between now and then, however. Meantime, Slade continues to kick like a dream. 28-21.
it's that pirouette, isn't it, which means that no one's holding on to him as he gets out of the tackle and lands on the floor, so that's why he's entitled to move, and it wasn't really a propel forward anyway, even had the tackle been completed.
So there we are. That's where Exeter are right now. They've just moved above Harlequins in the old as it stands table. There's the importance of what we're watching right now. Exeter have made a change. Max Norrie has come on for Jack Yendel. And the ball was out. So Max Norrie, who's just joined us, was able to intervene.
Enough now, 6. Use it. Good contest. Step, Quins, thank you.
It was won by Exeter.
Use it. Use it. No. Duff. Thank you.
Clearance from Cairns. Smith into the sunshine and being hassled hard. Porter scoops it up, but the damage had already been done. Combination of hard chasing opponents and the sun.
Oh, great kick as well, though. Good hang time, but it dropped perfectly. The spot, Marcus Smith has a little glance. He thinks he has it in his breadbasket, but he has a quick look up knowing there's a big shot coming on. And he doesn't have the time to use his footwork to get himself out, so he has to brace himself for the collision. And that's all it takes.
Just make sure on the box kicks,
Moment
players in the
of concentration gone. One of the best handlers in the game
just be patient for a second.
is human.
Are you okay? Okay, let's go.
He's having a good game, Harvey Skinner. There's some lineage at 10 for the Chiefs. Gareth Steenson started it all those years ago. Skinner's the latest in line, and he's growing into the role. He's started every Premiership game, every Champions Cup game this season.
Yeah, I think many people were querying whether they were going to need a little bit more oomph at half-back at 9, at 10, but Skinner, in fairness to him, now that he's absolutely first choice number 10, has really played his way into a commanding role, exactly the authoritative figure that every forward pack needs.
Bind. Set.
Chiefs have Zach Wimbush, 6'6" and 17 stones of him, standing eagerly here, and he might be Fisselau's target. He certainly went in to help clear the ball in the end for Cairns, and then Roots lays it back, and that's away nicely by Skinner, who took a bang to the back of the head as a result. Vermeulen, full steam. Skinner, oh, that's not worked. It's Levis instead into his great big buckets.
Ball is available.
And the moment of some promise for Chiefs rather evaporates. Smith a little bit further wide to Beard. Took a fearful clattering in the first half. Wondered whether he might be able to carry on, but he's dishing it out himself now. Ernie Herbst, part of the group that gets it back to Northmoor.
Just got a little bit static there, Quins. The passes on the inside shoulder. They were pulling the ball back too far, and it allowed for that blitz defence from Chiefs to fire through, force them back on the inside. Lucky not to get turned over.
Inside.
And Porter's kick went down well with the locals on the far side.
John's chased his kicks well, hasn't he? Forces the error a little bit from Porter, though certainly it's been a Harlequins tactical game to kick the ball out when they've had the opportunity.
Chiefs shortening their line out. They've got Jacques Vermeulen standing menacingly amongst the rest of the midfielders. Meanwhile, one of the big blokes left behind, Fisselau, picked up and went on his own.
Yeah, Fisselau's been absolutely superb in his carrying this afternoon.
Here he is again. He's getting through some work. 12 carries now for Greg Fisselau.
Let go, tackle!
Faye Weboso, long pass cutting out a few defenders to find Woodburn.
Chiefs getting very efficient with their numbers at the ruck. They just have to be careful not to turn it over as they have, it appears.
Knock on advantage.
Levis, Liner, oh, going this way and that, and Woodburn watching him in his rear-view mirror, and then Liner and Green chasing hard, and Porter picks it up. Liner's on hand, Porter holds on to it. Almost too many bodies just then. However, penalty goes against Vermeulen.
Could be more than just a penalty. I think it'll be a yellow. Clear break, coming back, slows it down. Marcus Smith trying to go quickly, but because of the yellow, he'll be slowed. But there's almost a try-saving tackle from Liner on Porter in this. They run into each other.
Do you know, I have a little bit of sympathy for him, because I get a sense that he was trying to get back to his feet, but he just couldn't get his body weight shifted backwards while still trying to counter-ruck and create himself as a nuisance.
Massive moment in the game that. Looked like Exeter was starting to get a bit of comfort. Little break, great offload. The torque from Liner was superb. Turns Woodburn inside out. The kick timing's perfect. Gets back to his feet. The bounce does Green. But then Porter just couldn't sense that Liner was coming on his right shoulder, and they end up just colliding slightly. There's a brilliant tackle, and as you said, does everything right apart from stumbles at the key moment, flops over the top of the ball. It's absolutely a yellow card for me, but he was very close to a miracle try-saving turnover.
Chris Chins are involved, as you'll have seen. He's taken the place of Jack Dunn in the second row. And 2 Harlequins changes in the front row. Dylan Lewis and Finn Baxter for the 50th time for the club are on. Joe Marler and Will Collier making way.
You just had a yellow. That's okay. So hang on, just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Time on.
That's a great hand in from Jenkins.
Dombrandt. Quins' turn to attack. Game that has gone this way and that. Here's Baxter. First significant touch for him. Lost forwards.
Knock on in the tackle only.
And off that lad boot, Slade.
Excellent kick. Great vision from Slade. Realising Marcus Smith was covering the other side, anticipating the right-footed boot.
Defensively really good. As Harlequins were starting to get a bit of momentum, watch how Henry Slade flies out of the line. It's a phase here. The line speed's really good from them. Harlequins a little bit tight, but as they come around the corner now, they bounce out of the line and stop Harlequins playing out of the back. They force the turnover. Henry Slade gets himself back into position and bangs in. That's an absolutely superb kick for them.
That's contact in the air for me.
Herbst
No, we're good, we're play on.
gathers the ball. Greg McDonald
6, get out, 6.
offering his thoughts, but Matthew Carley just happy to continue.
It's good refereeing again. We want flow in the game where possible.
Advantage.
It's a really good kick that from Porter. Didn't put too much on it because he saw how far back Woodburn was standing, gave Liner a chance to compete. A little bit of afters.
Let's have a chat with Nick Evans, the Quins backs and attacks coach. I don't know whether you're allowed to enjoy a game when you've got an important job like yours today, Nick. We're loving this. How are you seeing it?
Well, I'm glad you're loving it. I think you've got 2 teams that want to play some rugby. The scene is set in terms of the weather and the ground. So look, it's pretty helter-skelter at times.
Bit too much for you?
Oh, just a little bit. I think on the other side of the ball, certainly, I think we're not. I don't think we've got quite enough good connection in our defence at the moment. We're struggling to contain them a little bit. We probably haven't had enough of the ball. I would have liked us to have a little bit more of the ball. It was a big moment down there that they turned us over. So, look, we just need to hang in there at the moment. We'll probably get some fresh legs on soon, and see if we can start testing them a bit more.
Can you talk technically about why that connection might be missing at times?
Yeah, we spoke about the transition. I think we're second best in transition at the moment, probably both sides of the ball, especially in defence. We're just not getting our connection. I think you saw the kick that went long and at the back end of the first half. We weren't connected at all. You know, we're in 1s and 2s, and that's where you give their back 3. Those pitches, they're going to make mincemeat of it.
It's breathless, though, isn't it? Both sides who want a very high ball in play time, and that's what we're enjoying at the moment.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, Nick.
I'm sure you are deep down as well, Nick. Thanks for your time. Cheers. I don't know, do you enjoy it as a coach? You two won't necessarily know that, but big stakes.
I think there's always a stress involved, isn't there? Particularly when you see the attacking threats of the Exeter Chiefs and how well they're growing into this game as well. I agree, it feels like there are more holes opening up, and Quins are really going to need to stay connected.
Skinner's angled kick gathered by Smith, who seeks that left-hand touchline, or at least that 5-metre channel. Skinner weaves his way. Smith got in the way cleverly. Harvey Skinner appeals to the assistant on the far side, Anthony Woodthorpe, as if he'd had his pockets picked, but on we go.
Enough, 6, enough. Let him go, please, Finn.
Cunningham South. And Smith and his efforts to get that away quickly.
He's just getting squeezed a little bit for pressure. That's unlike him, obviously. He's not playing a huge amount of his rugby at fullback. He closes out the odd game back there, but it's a different time you have on the ball. At 10, you know, you're the one that's running play, you're the one that's dictating the tempo, whereas at 15, more often than not, defenders are shooting in, particularly this Exeter Chiefs defence. He'll know that wingers shoot in, leave the last man over regularly. Maybe it just wasn't quite the accuracy of pass. It was thrown at him pretty hard. Needed a little subtlety just to be able to flick it on to Lewis Lina.
A lot of the best players with footwork, it's all about that. Because they're such a threat, defenders often hesitate on them and think, what are they going to do? I can't get beaten, which actually aids them. If you pressurise them, it makes it much harder. Don't give them any room to use that footwork against you. We've seen that with this Chief defence. Obviously, England employing a very similar defence themselves, with those outside defenders keeping on going up the field, keeping on pressurising.
Big moment for Jack Kenningham, and a really big moment for the strength and conditioning staff at Harlequins. I think when Jack Kenningham was injured 7 months ago, everybody thought that was his season done. But he's come back, and he's still got an opportunity to bend it Harlequins' way. How well he has played when he's been fit, and what a part he may yet have to play between now and heading off to the flip-flops and the deck chairs or wherever you're doing.
He's a quality player. Plenty of decent back rowers in this Harlequins squad. Obviously, Will Evans a man we've seen an awful lot of this year, maybe even more than we would have done had that fellow Kenningham been available a bit more.
Billy Keast is in that Chiefs front row as well now for Scott Seo.
Scrum just gone sideways across the pitch. Play again.
Another
Let's go.
5 minutes to go on Jack Vermeulen's yellow card. In the meantime,
square to get reward. Both of you
Exeter doing what they can to hold on to this scrum. They've got Ollie Woodburn offering what help he can.
Nice and square this side, please.
It's on this side of the field that Quins will rely on Porter playing at 9. He'll get into the boot in behind Dombrandt, provided Exeter Chiefs don't leave anyone over on that blind side. Just the extra insurance policy. He's to marshal both sides.
Thistle out. There's Tom Cairns.
No!
Reminder, all this Chiefs without Vermeulen at the moment. From scrummaging to carrying, Ollie Woodburn. Chinza. Thistle out. Wimbush goes in, clears Quins players who were up to no good.
20.
Penalty against Jack Kenningham.
One thing I've noticed about Exeter Chiefs is their ability, irrespective of what number is on your back, to play halfback. So many teams clear the ball over with a couple of ruckers and then are waiting for the scrum half to go and deliver possession out to the first receiver. Chiefs don't wait for the 9. If he's a little bit behind play, go in and play it and keep the speed and tempo in the game, and that's how they stress defences so often.
Had to take the points here on offer. Already got the bonus point. Take a bit more off the yellow card clock. They've done really, really well to manage this game through this yellow card period.
Graphic illustration of how well Slade has played this season. Just to move to the very top of that well-stocked tree. It's a 10-point lead, and we're heading towards the final quarter. Erin Paint has come on. See Billy Keast down there as well. And then Faye Waboso doing magic. Oh, and Marcus Smith.
Smith could be in trouble there.
Ran into him, slowed him down. Faye Waboso is still chasing hard, and Tyrone Green watches the ball.
There's no head contact, so they won't look at that, but certainly jumps high if they were both just asking the question. I think the referee may be looking up at the big screen, seeing if something's going to come.
Oh, I tell you, there could be something in that. He is airborne. But he definitely jumps right into the path of him.
Smith's kick only to Skinner. Roots. Brought down by Dylan Lewis. Slade. Cairns. And then Skinner. Great kick. And then a chasing Dan John running for all his worth. And oh, that ball nearly bounced very cutely, but Green was there.
As well, Green had one earlier in the game that wouldn't sit for him, and he had to deal with it.
There's a brilliant kick, just waits for the last defender to close the gate. Tyrone Green, as soon as he shuts it closed, that's the timing to nudge the ball through. In fairness to Green, he reacts extremely well, turns on a sixpence and manages to get back in front of John just.
Change for the Harlequins coming off number 7, James Chisholm replaced.
Josh Hodge is dealing with a shoulder problem at the moment. We saw a lot of Josh Hodge at fullback for Chiefs at the start of the season, but as Rob Baxter was telling us earlier, he likes what Dan John brings. He's quite as quick as Josh Hodge, but he's quick enough and adds that solidity, the organisation, the decision-making, and he'll be involved in another attacking moment here. Quins just beginning to cough up penalties.
They're getting done. It's Kenningham again. Well, Kenningham's the man who makes the turnover, but it's the players lying after the tackle. It's a really good tackle from Baxter. Shot stopper on, fizzle out, but the game's ebbing away from them, and the breakdown's such an important part, but it's going to become a factor in the referee's mind now. Great shot from Baxter, gets underneath, wins the collision, but just doesn't quite roll away quickly enough. Kenningham so fast onto the ball, it's so hard.
It's such a tough one on Baxter because he does everything right. He rolls out to the side, he doesn't roll north. It just happens that he impedes the first clearer coming in. As soon as you do that and they lose their footing, there's always going to be sympathy from the referee.
It's the onus really, which is again impossible because the reaction speeds are so quick, but the onus is on the jackler to have a look and say, well, is that pathway, that runway to clear out blocked? But who's going to be able to do that in the time?
You can't do that as a jackler. You know, you're just thinking about making sure your head doesn't get taken off.
Chiefs won that yellow card period 6-0 while Vermeulen was missing. They're winning this second half 13-0.
Oh, we knew that the breeze was going to be important, but it's actually been their mentality and their capacity to bring Quins through many, many phases. Their passing quality has been excellent, organised brilliantly well, very, very impressive. 20 minutes in this second half from Exeter Chiefs, and they're not going to go down without a fight.
So that's what it looks like at the moment. That's where we're heading to next Saturday, when every single game kicks off at 3 o'clock.
The bonus point is, at bare minimum, is crucial for Harlequins because Bristol have got a much better points difference from them. So if they finish on equal points, Bristol will go through. So Harlequins, at the bare minimum, need to get this bonus point score.
Yeah, knock on
20 minutes to go, you'd back them with their form over the last couple of years and their ability to score late. Interesting to see Marcus Smith stepping into first receiver, maybe trying to use him a little bit more back in his normal position.
Well, so much to talk about with Craig and the boys on the rugby review in a bit, once this game's done. The soon-to-be departing these parts, Gareth Steenson, joining us. We're also, as you know, putting Benny in a boat and following Luke Pearce around for a day. Luke not in Lycra, thankfully. Our rugby tomorrow comes from the Women's Premiership, the PWR, with Loughborough and Gloucester Hartbury on air at 2:45 on TNT1.
Bind. Set.
And meantime, fast approaching one of the biggest fights in heavyweight history. Fury and Usyk in Riyadh to work out who's the undisputed world champion. Live next Saturday. May the 18th from 5 o'clock on TNT Box Office.
Just feels, if you're a Harlequins player, it feels like everything is going against you at the moment. The call from the far side, you just saw that almost break in the middle, didn't you? You judged on the far side that it was Finn Baxter that had gone to the knee under the huge weight of Aaron Painter.
Well, right now, Harlequins are being cut by their own transgressions. Exeter, joy, kick by kick by kick. Chiefs change at scrum half. Tom Cairns replaced by Niall Armstrong. He's just back from injury, Armstrong. And what a huge final quarter. Chiefs increasingly looking as if they might win it, but again we underline light because it is Harlequins. But as you say, Ben, the priority for Quins right now is to get that fourth try and start to think about bonus points at least to head back to the capital with.
Well, they're obviously playing against Bristol next week, so only really helps them in a draw situation, but I'm sure that would be enough for either team anyway. So
Chiefs just winning all the scraps at the moment, all the kick contest, all the non-negotiable stuff. Just getting up in the air. Oh, really clever from Harvey Skinner. I don't even know if he was ever going to catch the ball himself, but what he did do was he hooked the arm of Tyrone Green, didn't allow him catch the ball above his head, and a knock on into one of his own players to give Chiefs a put in. Another great attacking spot. Probably one of the best places to break from a scrum, just inside your own 40. Knowing that the opposition have to cover the backfield in some shape or form. The 50-22 is on. They have to respect that. So great opportunity to keep it in hand and attack wide.
Danny Kerr agreed to one more year, stretching his career into a 19th season next season. The club were absolutely desperate to keep him, they said this week, because of what he does off the pitch. Almost as much as what he does on the pitch, but the work he's done to help bring Will Porter through. He doesn't know. He's no idea why we're looking at him. What are you saying about me?
We're saying he's not great on tech.
We're saying nice things. We're saying nice things about him.
Nice and square, please.
37-year-old about to play his 375th game, which is no bad effort.
Whatever happened to those bottles you used to just squeeze into your mouth?
Crouch!
Chiefs' new scrum half is Niall Armstrong.
Fine.
Season when he made his Premiership debut, Gallagher Premiership debut. Came up through Exeter University, a Devonian. University is such an important source to Exeter in recent years. Skinner, oh, that's beautifully done. Here goes Woodburn, running into the sunshine. Feo Aboso caught it brilliantly. Cuss inside liner, still going, magical. The Chiefs are keeping it alive as they sprint into the final weekend of the regular season.
Another fantastic score started by that man. His passing at the line today has been sensational. The timing of it to hold defenders not allow them to drift off and equate the numbers out wide. And it's another one from Henry Slade that opens the gap. And don't they take it well? Woodburn, the loop runner, pulls it back behind the decoy runner to Skinner through the hands. Skinner puts a pass out. Feu Urboso holds it, but he's still got so much to do. 3 covered defenders. Not necessarily the pass he would have wanted, but once he sticks it in his right paw, what a finish that is. We mentioned about his strength, his ability to ride tackles, keep going earlier on in the game, and here's a clear example. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3, and then runs round under the sticks. What a finish that is, but really well made from a Chiefs backline that is purring.
Exeter are winning the second half, 21-0. 21-all at half-time. Quins have been slapped aside in this second half, worryingly. Huge game, 1 game left for them. Home to Bristol at the Stoop next Saturday. But this is turning into a dreamy day to be a Chief.
Just the timing from both Skinner and Slade, actually. Skinner takes that extra step just to wait until the defender bites on him and actually commits to the tackle. And then everyone running across the field, but he's just that low centre of gravity, strength in the hips.
Away by Levis. Kenningham's lost it.
This was just all about eyeballing. First of all, Henry Slade's the one takes it to the line, and then Harvey Skinner, who wrapped around the corner again. As soon as the defender looks in, commits to him, bang, the timing of the pass. That's what the best teams are doing. You see it with Northampton Saints an awful lot, but understanding the role, committing the inside defenders because everyone knows their angles, and then the timing of the pass. It's such a simple play, but done effectively is so difficult to defend.
Just that slight bit of contact from Wimbush as well, who was the decoy runner. And he didn't do much, so it's not an obvious thing, but he stayed on his line. He's entitled to run a line, but just that slight bit of contact meant there's no way the defender's going to recover.
2 fresh front rows, Norrie, Keaston, Painter for the hosts, Riley, Baxter, Lewis for the visitors, who still have 12 minutes to score another try, and who knows what we might be thinking at around 4:15 next Saturday as we look at bonus points, as we look at 4th place. Get as much as you can. That'll be on Quins' mind now. This match looks like it's gone from a winning and losing perspective.
That was good.
But those 3 tries they scored in the first half, Smith and Green and Dombrandt, at least mean they might head home with something.
Good contest for me. Locked on.
Just think it might. We talked about the bonus point. Obviously the game's gone, but just from a psychology point of view from Harlequins, that huge achievement to get to the Investec Champions Cup semi-finals, but just that sort of come down now, and as the season peters out, you've got to make sure that that's put behind you, and they need something out of this game to be able to bounce back next week against Bristol.
Those fixtures next Saturday, by the way, every game at 3 o'clock. Bath and Northampton, Gloucester and Newcastle, Harlequins and Bristol, Leicester and Exeter, and Saracens and Sale. We're just switching on. You haven't heard about Saints going wild at the Gardens a little earlier, scoring 90 points against Gloucester, 9-0. Gloucester got 0, which means that Northampton, courtesy of the 2nd biggest win in Premiership history, will be sure of a home semi-final. They'll be at the Gardens in the last 4.
Such an incredibly difficult thing to do. First of all, to score 90 points, to stay on it for full 80 minutes, but then also to mill the opposition.
Care trying to get in the eye line of Armstrong, and then Wimbush, all that power, getting more and more Premiership game time this season, throwing that weight around. Faye Waboso. This is Dan John. Woodburn in to help try to rescue the ball. There it is for Armstrong, for Muirland. Skinner. It's an interesting kick. That's Billy Keats, the prop. What on earth is he doing? He's got the wrong shirt on. And then here's Skinner. Having set it up, Skinner goes through. It's going to be one of those Saturday nights down Devon way. One of the biggest wins of the season, just when the Chiefs needed it.
Wow. They are flying now. No pressure on them at all, and they're just loving life in the sunshine. As you said, great crossfield kick. Was it Norrie who takes the ball in the wide channel? Cuts back inside. Lovely handling out here. They're spreading Harlequins from one side of the field to the other.
Really impressive crossfield kick again. Not sure what Norrie was doing out on the touchline, holding the width like his coach had told him midweek. Maybe not, but really great footwork in at the line, and then simple for Skinner. Quick rub ball, and again just mismatches. Two front rowers together. Ran at one, knowing that they had numbers over. He had to play out through the dummy. Very, very solid performance from that man.
Now, Exeter have scored 6 tries. If this goes between the posts, they will have scored 30 unanswered points in this second half, and Henry Slade, his personal haul, will head up to 21. It's the kind of situation that I'm sure Chiefs players are enjoying, and Martin Bayfield's down talking to one of them.
I am indeed very relaxed, Ethan Roots. You can relax now. The scoreboard is looking very comfortable indeed. Before kick-off, did you sense that you guys are in the right frame of mind for today?
Yeah, big occasion, last home game at Sandy Park. We knew we were going to turn up emotionally. We just had to worry about the detail after that, and luckily we've been able to bounce from next job to next job quite efficiently, and yeah, now we just have to close the game out against the side that can always creep it back. So.
You are bouncing nicely, but there was pressure on you in the build-up to this game. It was an absolute must-win. You haven't played as though you're under pressure.
Yeah, I think that's credit to our crowd here. We've got some old heads like Scotty Seo next to me, Jack Endell, Henry Slade, that just keep us in the blue, and I think that sort of helps. All that amalgamation of things helps out.
Just a quick word on Henry Slade. I think he's coming off now. He's put in some shift this season for you, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's been massive for us. You know, he's single-handedly sort of has kept to won us some games, and he's massive in the area, and yeah, he's been huge for the group of boys, so it's been great.
Great stuff. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of the game. Well done, mate.
Just as loud as Sandy Park's been all season, it feels that way. Always a special moment, the last home game of the season, but if the players do a lap of honours, I'm sure they will. They'll say goodbye to the Leavers. It's going to be noisy.
They started better than anyone expected this season, and you know, often actually Exeter Chiefs have had dips in their season at some point and then finish strongly, and they've done that now. They just need to make sure that dip in the middle is not quite as long. And you know, we all thought it was going to be a long rebuilding process here, but a lot of the youngsters have stood up. A few of the old ones as well. Henry Slade there, but a lot of those youngsters have stood up, and I think they're much further ahead than they would have thought going into the last weekend of the season.
Stay behind the ball. Thank you. Use it. Wait, 7. Thank you.
Oh, it's a magical kick. Absolutely magical. 50-22. Sure whether Marcus Smith will be annoyed at himself for not identifying it. That was probably the touchline he needed to cover a little bit more conservatively.
It looks like it's a pretty done deal now, so probably time for player of the match. I think Greg Frizzleau very, very nearly had given it to him before the last try. Henry Slade's been superb. Faye Waboso as well. Dan John at the back has had a really, really good performance, but for me, the standout player with the final try, Harvey Skinner, is our Gallagher Premiership player of the match. Controlled the game really, really well, defensively and in attack. And he's been the fulcrum of everything good about this team.
Ball rumbled up by Nori and then rumbled back by Exeter.
Turnover's good, you just dropped it into touch.
It does seem appropriate that Harvey Skinner is our player of the match at the end of a week when Gareth Steenson confirmed he was leaving this club at the end of the season. 16 years an adopted Devonian. Steenson, he's taking his family back to Northern Ireland. New challenges, but what he will leave behind, absolutely central to their rise to the top of the club game, Gareth Steenson.
Yeah, really impressive playing and coaching career here. Obviously brought them right through to the success that they've had over the last number of years. Multiple finals in the Premiership, winning the Champions Cup.
Vermeulen. Charging Ross Vincent. Put away by Armstrong. Chiefs still hungry, looking for more. John. Armstrong assesses the options. Best one is the skipper. Gets it down. It's turning into a fantasy evening for Exeter. A fantasy evening for everybody in these parts. And who's to say, as they weigh up a trip to Leicester next weekend, that they might not be involved in the top four in the playoffs at the end of it all. David Jenkins with the latest score.
We've had some brilliant scores out here today, but Exeter Chiefs' efficiency at the ruck has been the difference in this one. The speed of the ruck ball, the clarity and contribution of everyone involved. No one isn't doing their role brilliantly well as we close out the game, and David Jenkins powering over. Okay, that might have looked a little bit easy, but all the hard graft was done earlier on in the 3 or 4 phases that set that up.
Tries good, mate.
Strike runner, carried hard, really good ball placement, 2 clear ruckers, ball away. Such a simple game, but done so precisely that Quins' defence had no answers for it.
Skinner's kick, as every kick has today, between the posts. This second half, Exeter 37, Harlequins 0. 37-0 as Northmore and Smith try to change that, at least put some gloss on it. It won't feel like much, but they've got there. And Liner gets it down. It's beautifully taken, but where's that been in the second half?
Marcus Smith with the little trick play.
This is a huge, huge try for Quins in the context of the season. I don't know if our cameras even managed to catch it. Marcus Smith with the really quick drop out. No one up in the front line. He thought he'd undercooked it, but Northmore was the one that read off him, kept the ball alive. And where were Exeter Chiefs? They were already at full time in their heads, but Quins had something else to deliver right at the very end, and that could be absolutely crucial when we come down to close of play next weekend.
Yeah, they've got the bonus point score. What an extraordinary, extraordinary try.
Oh, it's a great regather from Smith, wasn't it? Was his kick a drop kick? Did he just rubber it? Took everyone by surprise.
Time on.
Exeter one game away left to Leicester, final day of the regular season. The Harlequins home to Bristol at the Stoop. They've not got long to recover from this. It's been a right old shellacking in the second half. That bonus point try will help, but no question who's made the headlines this evening. The team who really feared the playoffs might be beyond them this season. Old faces gone, new ones drafted in. But they'll head into the final weekend of the regular season still wondering, still dreaming. It's a huge slap around the chops for Harlequins. They've got to recover, and recover quickly. They're still in the shake-up as well, but the team who needed to win this have won this. And how? Exeter 58, Harlequins 26.
A huge confidence boost for the home side Exeter Chiefs. Come out and perform like that against a team that has been playing so much good rugby. They were outplayed, outclassed all throughout the game. And something to really look forward to. If they don't make the playoffs, they can still come back in pre-season and go, that's the benchmark, that's the sort of style of rugby we need to be playing, and put us into a much better start to the season next year.
You just wonder with Quins how important that try bonus is going to be. You'd have to envisage they have a 5-pointer in them next week that would get them to 55 points. Will that be enough? That's the number that Exeter Chiefs will have to try and achieve down in Tollywood, Welford Road. But credit to Quins, they are never ever beaten. They nearly always get something from every single game, and they have done it again right at the death.
What a weekend. Next Saturday's key games: Bath against Northampton, Saracens against Sale, Harlequins against Bristol, Leicester against Exeter. Winners this evening, Craig, by 58 points to 26.